happy Friday with physical and financial fitness with Patrick, where we get together to get fit. So we're going to talk about physical fitness and financial fitness. And we do this every day live, 6:30 to 7:30 or 6:30 to 8 a.m., however it goes, here in my garage gym. So there's 3 reasons why you may want to show up to this, or 3 reasons why you want to stick and watch the replay. One is you want somebody to work out with, okay? Not a lot of people have a workout partner, and some people need motivation to wake up in the mornings. If you're on the West Coast, if you're on the East Coast or somewhere else in the world, you could need some motivation for somebody to be reliable for you to do some exercise and work out with. So one thing I'm here for is to motivate people to get in better shape, okay? The better shape we are, the more energy, the more health, the more wealth. So I'm here to help people with motivation to get moving in the mornings, get working out. So if you want to work out with me, that'd be fantastic. The other 2 reasons are that we talk about finances. And so if you have questions about cash flow, questions about financial freedom, okay, is another reason why people would stay here. And thirdly is for opportunity. We do have an investment fund. We do specialize in mortgage note investing. We do have opportunity for investors. So if you have cash, IRA, 401k, you want to stay. So this today is designed to be investor talk. So we're talking money, we're talking investments. And my specialties, of course, are mortgage notes, which produce cash flow. They're secure, not volatile like these markets that we've had lately. Do I eat breakfast? I do, but it's not my most important meal of the day. Sometimes I skip breakfast, Dexter, for sure. Sometimes it's a fast from 8:30 at night the previous day, and I won't eat till like noon. So yeah, oops, I'm pulling strings off. So absolutely, not eating breakfast is a really good thing. Fasted workouts are really good. Doing a fasted workout, whereas, like I said, I haven't eaten since yesterday at 8:30 in the morning. And this morning I will have water, though. I will have water. I will have coffee. So fasted workouts can be good for you. Intermittent fasting. I always have trouble saying that, but intermittent fasting is good for you. Let's see here. So can I get on this studio? Can I go live? I am today, guys. We're going to talk about notes. We're going to talk about the apartment developments in Florida, and we're going to talk about the cash flow conference at sea. So this should be live right now. How come I can't see? Huh. Well, I don't know how to do this darn thing. I am trying to figure out how to edit and moderate, because sometimes we get people that come in here and make comments that are just silly. They're not asking good questions about things. So, oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so I can do that. Great. Very difficult to learn how to do some of this stuff, y'all. What a pain in the butt sometimes it is to learn things. Okay, there you go. That'll work. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, guys. So cool, guys. And today, a lot of you who've been following me know that I'm trying to increase the size of my chest this year. I want some bigger pecs, man. So 2 days a week I do chest, shoulders, triceps. So today we're going to do chest, shoulders, and triceps. But we gotta show you this beautiful view. I hope we just don't lose reception or something like that. But it's such a nice day, such a nice morning out here in San Diego. And maybe we can have a chat out here for a minute before we get our workout started, man. But you guys gotta see the glory of the morning with me. Such a beautiful day out here in San Diego. If you're just hopping on, it's Fitness and Finance with Patrick, and we talk about investing here, mostly passive cash flow. My specialty is in mortgage notes and real estate, mortgage notes and really multifamily apartment development from the ground up. We're building some apartments in Florida people can invest in. And we specialize in the mortgage note side of things for passive cash flow, because it's good to be the bank. So we're going to talk about a little bit about, if you're an investor, if you have questions about mortgage notes, if you have questions about the apartment developments or investing into a fund, and any questions about that good stuff, fantastic. We're going to answer those. But if not, okay, guys, you got to see this, right? It's beautiful out here. How do I get started in notes? Usually training. Look at this. Look at this day behind me, guys. It's like a fairy tale-esque, right? Fairy tale-esque. But so guys, we can talk about that. So if you have questions about investing, like Andy, how does he get started in notes? Andy, there's a couple different ways, right? There's a do-it-yourselfer that reads books and YouTube. It's scattered information, tough to put together. You've got the second type of person gets into notes, I guess, that is the self-starter, right? That's going to, have 17 different sources of information to put it all together and try to figure it out. And there's gaps there. And there's a well-trained person that went through some sort of a mentor expert that's been doing it for years and got all of the beginner mistakes covered and out of the way. But it is just a gorgeous day today, guys. Gorgeous day in San Diego. If you guys are Midwest, Southeast, if you're freezing cold still and all this good stuff, I feel for you. I would have been born in St. Louis, Missouri, but I was born in San Diego, California, because my father came from San Diego, from St. Louis to San Diego years and years ago. But I just wanted to show you that because it is a beautiful morning. All right. So, yeah, you can definitely get into notes. Snow flurries out there this AM, he says. Andy says there's snow flurries where he's at. Chime in, guys. If you're just coming into the live, it is a live Q&A. It's designed, guys, for me to help you guys answer questions about fitness, finance, mindset, things like that. So it helps when you guys give me something to talk about. But, if I don't get a lot of good questions, I talk about mortgage notes for passive cash flow, apartment development, which we're building a 32 unit right now, and investment fund for passive investors that don't want to be bothered. They just want their money working. So if you're hopping on now, you're either working out with me because you're trying to get in shape. So you're at your house or you're at your gym or you're doing whatever, and you just like me to be in your Bluetooth earpiece and we talk about finances, but we motivate each other to work out at least Monday through Friday, guys. It's hard sometimes to get up. It's hard sometimes because we don't have motivation. My wife is upstairs sleeping in the warm bed, man. I was next to her and I go, I got to get up. Not only for me, but now for you guys. So we keep each other accountable. If you like to show up here and work with me in the garage, today I'm going to be doing chest, shoulders, and a little bit of triceps. Not much because I don't want my triceps messed up for tomorrow's golf round. I play golf every Saturday morning. Sometimes you work out too hard. Golf swing's terrible. I don't like that. But chest and pecs, stuff like that, not very affected by a golf swing generally. So we're going to work on that today. That will be our workout. But any questions you guys have about fitness or finance, health, wealth, legacy, let's talk. It always helps me when you slap comments or questions down in the live chat. And that way we can get a crack-a-lackin' and I can get to answer some of your questions, guys. But otherwise, I just do some lifting and I try to motivate people to get up in the morning and get to work, because consistency over time is what makes people healthier and wealthier. It's not something that happens very quickly. It is a consistent system and something that you consistently work at over time that can build muscle, lose you fat, get you smarter, right? Get you a new skill. All these things, guys, it's just takes time and it's consistency. All right. So, Andy's having snow flurries. Here we are again in San Diego, probably going to be 75 and sunny today. I hate to keep saying that, but you know what? The weathermen do the same thing here around San Diego. I swear weathermen in San Diego have the easiest job on earth. I think it's unfair. Don't you think? Yeah, weathermen are all, well, it's just going to be a nice sunny day again today. What do you have? What is your job? Why are you even working? It's wild. I'm older and losing muscle. Dexter, anything in particular I can take to get me back right? Yes. Listen, there's the diet, and I know Dexter's a friend of mine, so I know Dexter is intelligent when it comes to dieting. So Dexter knows that if we're building muscles, we have to reduce our body fat and we have to increase our protein, reduce our carbs and sugars and increase our proteins. Proteins is what's going to help you build muscles. I know Dexter already knows that. A lot of times, Dex, what I've seen these days, thankfully, I don't need it because yeah, Divine 777 says yes, protein, absolutely. I'm trying to do 180 to 200 grams of protein per day. I weigh 165 or 170 pounds, depending on how many donuts I ate last night. But no, it's high protein, obviously low carb, low sugar. You know that already, Dex. But here's another thing. You know what? Men, luckily I don't need it because I went and I got my blood tested because I was curious about this TRT. TRT, if you guys don't know, stands for testosterone replacement therapy. So it's not anabolic steroids or anything like that. But you know what happens is men as we grow in age over, say, over 40, right? Because I'm 46 now. And as we grow in age, of course, our natural production of testosterone starts to decrease. Yeah. So I know that it's very popular these days, guys, for men to get TRT, which is testosterone replacement therapy. And if I had very, very, very low testosterone naturally, trust me, I would be on it because, yeah, that stuff shrinks your, the bird bard, that stuff shrinks your, yeah, you know what? It does have some side effects like that. It was funny because Rich Piana, if you guys ever followed him, he was super, 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 super big jacked, like 25-inch arms or whatever. He ended up passing away from health problems, probably because of all the steroid use in his life. But Rich Piana was so funny. When he was talking about making the he was talking about steroids making the jewels smaller and you bigger, right? And he was saying that's what I love about it, right? He said, "Who wants to have a small body and big cojones?" I thought that was funny. He says, "Yeah, the bigger my muscles get and the smaller my cojones get, the better I look." I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, TRT is still steroids, I suppose, right? It is replacing, you know, testosterone in your body, which is something that should be being produced naturally. So I'm just above 800 myself at 46 years old, which I think is really good, is what I heard. I have no clue. But yeah, so testosterone replacement therapy and those kinds of things. Yeah. And you know, doing it through a doctor, doing it you know, in a healthy manner, and of course, what guys, we got all this stuff now, the technology with all the peptides and everything like that. So, do some research. And by the way, Dex, I don't know if Dexter is lifting heavy weights or you know, really getting an hour of good heavy weightlifting in 5 days a week. But that's one thing that's going to help you out, guys. If you're not actually training your ass off, I don't care what you're eating or if you have testosterone replacement therapy or any of this garbage. You've got to get your muscles torn, right? That's what happens. That's what happens to muscles. Of course, we know when we work out, we tear them up and then they build scar tissue. They get injured. They build scar tissue, and that's how they get bigger. That protein helps to repair quickly, and the TRT, right? If you have really, really low and declining testosterone, TRT can be a really good thing to replace what your body should already be producing. And that can help too. But I find that it's like hard work and consistency straight up, guys. We know that, right? I swear if I ate donuts every day and I ate poorly, but I went crazy marathon running exercise plus 2 hours of weightlifting and burned all those calories and that, I wouldn't get fat. Neither will you. So it's a beautiful day, guys. If you're just hopping on, Patrick Franz, fitness and finance, that's what I talk about. So I specialize in notes. Do I promote drugs? No. I do not promote drugs. I do not promote drugs at all. My father prided himself on being very clean and drug-free and was Mr. St. Louis. So my dad was a bodybuilder back in the old days when it wasn't even popular. And Pops prided himself on being very clean. We grew up as an athletic family, gymnastics and things like that. So I've never been much into drugs. If you count smoking pot a drug, I guess I've done some, but other than that, not much of a drug user. Yeah, body weight, push-ups, pull-ups, and dips. Absolutely, that's going to be good. Are you a high-functioning drunk? No, matter of fact, I quit drinking, man. I used to be a high-functioning drunk. I can probably go around this house somewhere and dig up some old medals, some old gold medals, or you know, championship belts from my drinking days. I used to be fairly good at it. But no, I had to quit drinking alcohol, so I stopped that. Really, like beer and vodka drinks and stuff like that were my thing. But alcohol is extraordinarily bad, even though it's very, very popular. It's one of the worst things you can do to your body drug-wise. Let me get these weights here and get started with a little bit of a workout. Get a little warmed up here. Perdona, sorry, I've been out to the camera. But no, I'm not into drugs much, guys. Not into drugs. I don't do any steroids. I don't do any testosterone therapy. You can tell because I'm not that jacked. If I was on all this trin and testosterone replacement therapy like these guys do, I'd probably be twice as jacked as this. But guys, I'm not doing this. I don't lift weights in the mornings like this, and I'm certainly not going live to lift weights with people like this to show off or be a fitness influencer. I mostly talk finances, but what I had realized is that I had worked out down here for about a year and a half in my garage gym because I don't like going to the regular gym, but I worked down here for like a year and a half. And throughout the last year and a half, I've been studying. So I would come down here and work out, and I'd put my Bluetooth earpiece in and throw on YouTube or podcasts, and I would just study finances and study investment opportunities, study cryptocurrency, study the world economy, and just study and listen and study and listen. That's what I would do down here working out. And it was just like, I don't know, about 2 weeks ago or so, and I just looked at my wife and I said, you know what I ought to do is I ought to have a live morning conversation with people. Maybe I could motivate people to be up at a certain time, or if you're on the East Coast and it's not early for you, maybe I could just motivate people to work out, motivate people to get in shape, motivate people to be the best versions of themselves, I suppose. And then, of course, because I understand notes and fund management and apartment development, I figured while we're on here getting in good shape and motivating each other, then you guys might be able to ask some questions. If you're an investor, obviously, you're not going to have very good questions for me if you're not an investor, because that's not my expertise. My expertise is in notes, apartment development, raising private capital, passive cash flow. You know, those are my areas of expertise. So you guys can ask questions, but yeah, nope, not drugs. Protein powder is good. Protein powder is good to supplement, right? If I'm trying to hit 200 grams of protein in my day, let's say I'm trying to hit 200 grams of protein in my day. Let me stop this camera so it doesn't go nuts on you guys. 200 grams of protein in my day. Sometimes it's tough, guys, through natural foods to get that amount of grams of protein in one day. 200 grams is a lot. So every now and again, I may have a protein shake to pop in an extra 40 or 50 or 60 grams of protein. Another way I get a lot of protein quickly, which is real simple, is just drinking egg whites. If you drink some egg whites real quick, then you will get 40 or 50 grams of protein, gulp it down, and that. But the artificial proteins and the protein powders and those kinds of things, of course, not as good as the real thing. So if you can have real protein from real sources, real foods, all the better for you. Try to take only about 1 minute breaks between sets here. So, yeah, absolutely. So if you guys are working out, fantastic. If you have your body moving this morning or this afternoon, whatever time it is for you, wherever you're from, matter of fact, do that for me. Do that for me. Let me know where you are, guys. What part of the country, what part of the world? We got Harsha Sharma 5971. Where are you? Where are you guys watching from? Drop that in the comments. I'd love to know where you guys are at. I'm in San Diego, California. Where are you guys watching from? Let me know. Drop in the comments. Drop in the chat. Where are you from, guys? Where are you watching from? I would love to know in the chat. I'm in San Diego. I want to know where you guys are at. Florida? That's where we're building the apartments, by the way. What part of Florida? Canada. The best way I make money is through mortgage notes. Yeah, the best way I make money is through mortgage notes. Florida, man, that's where we're building the 32 units. So, Harsh, what part of Palm Beach? It's so funny because when I say we're building apartments in Palm Bay, people always go, "Oh yeah, Palm Beach." There's been some surf out there recently. I've been excited for the Florida surfers, man. I've been watching that on TV and online going, damn, go guys, go. There's really small waves usually in Florida, but they've had a good swell lately. I've been looking at that. So Palm Bay, not Palm Beach. So Harsh is from Palm Beach in Florida. We're building these apartments in Palm Bay, which of course is up like Brevard County. They call it the Space Coast over there where they launch those rockets. So pretty cool. I love Florida. What is it called? Mortgage notes in Canada? We're building 32 units and then we're also building 48 units. We have a 32 unit and a 48 unit in Palm Bay, Florida, not Palm Beach, Palm Bay. Palm Bay, Florida. I fell in love with that place too. It's a cute little place. You're from Canada. So when we're talking about best way to make money, I have my friend Nathan Turner, the Canadian note guy. And so I guess in Canada, what I've heard is in Canada, you guys don't have the same type of mortgage and housing loan system that we do here. So in Canada, I don't think that it's possible to be a mortgage note investor and buy people's mortgage debt in Canada. I don't think that that is possible, or at least it wasn't a couple years ago. But Nathan Turner, my boy who lives in Canada, the Canadian note investor, but he lives in Canada, but he invests and buys a bunch of mortgage notes in the United States. So he doesn't actually buy mortgage notes in Canada. Yeah, trying to be real. Yeah, yep. We buy the debt. We buy the debt because, mortgage debt, which is really cool. Mortgage debt. People don't know this, man. It's a trip. But mortgage debt is sold at a discount. That's how the secondary mortgage market works. So like if somebody owes, just for simple numbers, but if somebody owes the bank $100,000 on their existing mortgage, we can go and maybe buy that for 80 or 90 grand. So we invest in something that we're getting equity the first day, right? So when we buy a mortgage note, like that example there, if I bought it for $80,000 and the borrower is living in the house owed $100,000, you have $20,000 in upside or equity the day you buy it. Swaps, no, not swaps, but if people have seen The Big Short, they've heard a lot of that language. Not a REIT, not a swap. All we're doing, guys, is buying someone's mortgage seriously one at a time. Yeah, one at a time. So like, here's what happens that people understand mostly, guys, is that when you're a homeowner and you have a home loan and you're paying some bank your mortgage payment every month, you know what I mean? Oftentimes homeowners will get a transfer letter in the mail. That transfer letter is simply to the homeowner saying, hey, your mortgager, that you've been paying your mortgage payment to all this time, well, they're not your mortgager anymore. Here's a letter letting you know that. So don't pay that person your mortgage payment anymore. And then a new lender will follow right behind. Nathan Turner is my buddy in Canada. So a new lender follows right behind and you get a letter and you open your mailbox, get a letter and it says, hey, remember your old lender that you're not paying anymore? Yeah, because they transferred your mortgage over to us. We're your new lender. You need to start paying your mortgage payment to us from now on. So it says your mortgage has been transferred to a new lender. But of course, that word transfer means it got sold, right? Someone sold the mortgage, the paper debt. Sold your mortgage loan. Somebody else took over the remaining payments. So that's what we do. That's what we do. You buy a single mortgage. The ownership of that mortgage debt gets transferred over to us. And then the person living in that house starts making their mortgage payment to us. And we're collecting that passive monthly cash flow from real estate like banks do without having the ownership liabilities of landlording. So that's why it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. They don't really have to, right? That's the cool thing. So trying to be real. And if you guys don't want me to call you by your tag name there, you can actually drop in your real name if you want to be called by your real name. Of course, my name's Patrick, but trying to be real. There's 3 things that could happen with someone's mortgage, right? Think about it. There's 3 things that could happen. If you had a mortgage, there's 3 things you could do. You could either pay your mortgage on time as agreed. So it just means make your mortgage payment on time every month like a good payer until your mortgage is paid off eventually, right? So that would be one way to do it, is just pay as agreed. Well, if they pay us as agreed, we just collect a bunch of passive monthly cash flow for years. And it's a really good return since we bought the debt at a discount. So option 1 of them paying their mortgage as agreed is good for us because we get lots of passive cash flow and a great return on our investment. So The other thing that somebody could do with their mortgage, right, is somebody could pay their mortgage off early. So how does one generally pay their mortgage off early? If somebody paid their mortgage off early, it would probably be because of maybe 3 different reasons. One, they refinance. People can refinance their existing home loan with a new lender. That's up to them. If they do, their existing lender gets obviously paid off in full. Well, since we bought the note at a discount, if they refinance, if they sell their house and move somewhere else, or say they get an inheritance or they win the lottery and they just decide to pay it off, either way, for the mortgage holder, the mortgage note owner, that just equivalates to what's called early payoff. If we get paid off early in an asset in which we bought for a discount, not only did we collect the cash flow while we owned it each month, but then we got a nice payoff balance at the end when they paid it off. That's when we collect that discount because we bought the debt at a discount. Why is the transfer happening in the first place? Trying to be real says, sorry, why is the transfer happening in the first place? Because mortgage loans are sold on the secondary market, just like houses are sold in the real estate market, just like stocks are sold on the stock market, just like this. So mortgage debt is a tradable asset. So oftentimes, and by the way, there's 100 different reasons why one would want to sell a mortgage note, but the bottom line is someone is collecting monthly payments over a long period of time. That's the asset that they own, a payment stream, right? So you're collecting monthly payments over time. Maybe somebody needs a lump sum of cash. Maybe they have another investment they want to go do. Maybe they had an emergency in life, but they need cashola. So this monthly payment they're collecting is nice, but they need to sell that payment stream because they need cash. And there's a million reasons why, okay? But if you've got the cash, or if you're able to leverage cash utilizing other people's money, just like they do in the stock market, just like they do in the house flips, just like they do in every part of life, which is leverage OPM, you can stack a very nice portfolio of these. But back to that, right? They can pay you as agreed, they can pay you off early, or they can stop paying you. So trying to be real says, well, what happens if they don't pay? Let me ask you this. If you have a mortgage, you're paying a mortgage payment on a home loan to a bank, like a Wells Fargo or a Chase. What do they do when you don't pay your mortgage? What does the bank do when you don't pay your mortgage? You tell me. Do they have any recourse? Okay, yeah, hey, Will. So trying to be real, his name's Will. Hey, Will. Yeah, Nathan Turner is my buddy. I'm not sure if he wrote a book, but he possibly did. Yes. Okay. So they take your house, don't they? So the bank is sitting there. The bank is sitting there in a really good position. Think about this. The bank is sitting there with no ownership liability of your house. So there's a homeowner living in the house that's making a mortgage payment every month to the bank. So think of the bank's position. The bank is sitting there with no property ownership, no liability. They're not in charge of fixing your toilets, fixing your leaky roof, or doing anything to your house. They're just the bank. They're the lender. They're very, very passive. They don't really have to do much, right? No one from Wells Fargo is coming out to your house to do a checkup on you. Okay. So the bank is sitting there holding your mortgage. They have your house as their collateral in case you don't pay. And the bank is in a pretty good position, right? You can pay them as agreed. They love it. Just keep on paying them cash flow every month for 20 years. Great for them. You can pay them off early. That's fine. They just get all their money back plus some. When we buy notes at a discount, is our money back plus some. But we get all that back. And it's very profitable, and we get to go out and deploy that money into a new asset now. Or number 3 is they don't pay. If they don't pay, remember, we legally have their property as our collateral. That's the way a collateralized loan works. So if they decide not to pay, we can get their house. And some of you may be thinking already, well, isn't that a really good way to get real estate in the portfolio for a lot less money? And yes, it is. As a matter of fact, I was talking to a student of mine. We run Note Investor University, so we teach people this stuff, how to buy notes instead of houses. I used the first house to get the second one. Yeah, Digital Warrior said I used the first house to get the second one. Absolutely. Debt isn't a bad thing if you know how to manage it. Yes, that is if you're the one in debt, right? What if you're the one that owns the debt? It's pretty good to be in the lender's shoes, right? So the idea of using houses and real estate, like you said, to buy more real estate, it's a great thing. I never want to dog real estate, actual physical real estate, not at all, because we're all involved in real estate as well. But the note game's pretty slick. The note game is pretty slick. See, I don't want to have 25 rental properties. You guys understand? Having 25 rental properties is a pain in the rear end. But I can have 25 mortgage notes in my portfolio. See, both you collect cash flow from real estate. Both is cash flowing from real estate. So think about what we normally do. Like, let's just make a comparison, guys. Chat it up with me. I love that Digital Warrior, and I love that Will. I love you guys are in here and participating, but let's chat it up a little bit. Like, check it out. If you have 21 rental properties, 25 rental properties, you go, oh, but I have a property manager. Well, it doesn't matter. You're still working with your property manager. You still have to chase rents. You still have to deal with tenants, toilets, trash, termites, troubles, all the liabilities. You own the property. If an old lady is walking on the sidewalk in front of your house and trips on the hose that your renter left out, falls and breaks a hip, who's going to get sued? Your renter or you? You have all the liability. So as the wealthy say, own nothing, control everything, then you get into mortgage paper and you understand why. Oh, that's burns. Oh, that's good. You understand why. Understand why banks don't own a bunch of rental properties, right? It's wild thinking about that, right? So banks don't flip houses. Banks don't own rental properties, but banks are better at making money than most people. So I go, But banks can own a huge portfolio of mortgages because guess what? People tend to make their mortgage payments. True or false? People tend to make their mortgage payments. Even through COVID, 5 to 8% delinquency in our note portfolio. 5 to 8% of the people weren't paying their mortgages and actually reached out and needed help or something. Asked for like a forbearance. Forgiveness on a few payments. Say it's COVID, I'm not working. But there's only 5 to 8% of the portfolio. Even through COVID and all that, most people paid their mortgage payments. You might let other bills go behind. Might let other bills get late, but most people pay their mortgages. Will, I've been in full-time investor since 2018. I quit my sales management job back in 2017 to try to go full-time. And I've been full-time ever since. It's been a blessing. So I started doing all this in 2018, guys. And I know for some people, that's not that long ago. And it's not. And the project that we're building, guys, it's called the Florida Paradise Fund. You guys can look at the floridaparadisefund.com. And the Florida Paradise Fund is where we're building those apartments out there in Palm Bay, not Palm Beach. Palm Bay, Florida, which is really such a sweet place. Like I said, I've kind of fell in love with it, man. Palm Bay, pretty cool. Our 32-unit apartment is like maybe 5 or 10 minute drive from the beach. And those beaches out there, it's like an underdeveloped area of Florida, guys. So those beaches out there are beautiful. They're quiet. There's these great little bars and cantinas. And it's such a cute little place. Oh, the Florida Paradise Fund. The floridaparadisefund.com is our website for the apartment developments. So we've been doing notes for many, many years. We've been buying mortgages and holding mortgage notes for cash flow for many years. That's kind of our specialty. And we got into building these apartments, say about 3 years ago or so. We started buying up land out there. And then you have to take all the time in the world to go from raw land, which, guys, in Florida is nuts. It's thick with trees out there. And the ground is sand, soft sand kind of out in Florida. Kind of different land than it is out here in San Diego. But clearing off all the raw land is a pain in the butt. But getting all the permits and entitlements in the city and the government and everybody behind you to let you get approved to build something like that on that property, what a pain in the rear end. Boy, it takes a long time and it's a lot of paper pushing. What's up, anyone? How you doing, brother? So the bank transferred the mortgage to you, but there's risk lenders stop paying you. Do you screen with lenders before the purchase? Are you talking about the borrower? So, Mike, they pay me as agreed. They pay me off early or they don't pay me. That's only things that people can do with their mortgage. They can pay their mortgage on time like a good borrower. They can pay their mortgage off early by refinancing or selling the house, or they can not pay me. And any of those three things they do when I'm the bank, when I am the lender to that borrower, they can pay me as agreed. And that means I collect passive cash flow for years and years, right? Mortgages are 10, 20, 30 years. Yeah, borrower, Mike. I knew what you meant. So there is a risk that a borrower could stop paying their mortgage. But as we discussed with somebody that was on here in the questions a little bit, I'm going to ask you the same question, Mike. What happens to you as the borrower if you stop paying your mortgage payment to the bank? What usually happens? Tell me, Mike. Does the bank say, oh, well, that's a bummer. We're not collecting cash flow, but oh, well. What happens? What does the bank do when somebody stops paying their mortgage payment? What does the bank do? Anybody else want to chime in? What does a bank do to you when you don't pay your mortgage? What happens to your house? Ooh. What's the answer? You take your house and hide it? I wish.